Well, if I'm not mistaken, we have about 50 shops. We have over 50 shops in that building, in that particular building.
So is this a two-story or a three-story building?
Yeah, two-story.
Two-story building, right.
Two-story.
Right.
Yes, two-story building. Yeah, two-story building.
So you have the ground floor and the first floor. And both floors are currently on fire.
And you know, most of the shops are also divided.
Okay.
Yeah, they are divided into two. So you have two people occupying one shop, but they have been partitioned, and people are occupying and engaging in retail activities and all that. So that is the concentration now. The fire officers are taking their concentration there to be able to contain the spread of the fire. But trading activities within the central business district, Nana, has come to a halt on a Friday.
Do we know if, I mean, we had a gentleman who just spoke, mentioned that the fire started at about 4 a.m., but that is his account.
Yeah.
Do we know if trading had started this morning and has to come to a halt because of the fire, or trading people did not open their shops at all when the fire started?
So Nana, for the central business district, for those who sell second-hand clothing, even sometimes at 3 a.m. when you come here, you find people here starting their day. So some of these shops where they have or they use as their warehouses for the people who sell the second-hand clothing, they were here. But for other shops where they sell phone accessories and other items like the cosmetic products, you find people coming in maybe in the morning, like 8 a.m., coming to open their shops. So most of those ones were not in when the fire started. But for the traders who trade on pavements, you know, sometimes it's first come, first serve.
Yes.
Some people come to just take over the pavement. So people who are able to report early are able to secure a space.
Right.
So for those traders, they come as early as 3 a.m. Sometimes you move through the central business district, you see that people are already setting up. For those who don't have permanent or lockable shops, already coming out to set up their businesses on the pavement to start their trading activity. But people with lockable shops, sometimes they come from 7 a.m. and from 7 a.m. to start their trading activity. And so
for the traders who operate from the pavements, and then of course the second-hand clothing people, we all know, I mean, the first selection people, they must have witnessed it when the fire started.
Exactly, Nana. Exactly, Nana. And most of them had to place calls to the fire service, who also deployed their men here.
Right. We've seen that the police water cannon vehicle has come back.
Yes. It's trying. There are pockets of fire at this concentrated area. So it's trying to, access is still a problem. You know, the water cannon is not able to target the fire directly.
Exactly. It's
like
not as flexible as the hose of the fire service. So it will be difficult to do proper targeting. And this is the concern.
Wow,
exactly. This is the concern I was raising earlier regarding whether people were behind the wall, and when the cannon begins to spray, people won't be hit.
No, okay, so
and this is what has just happened.
That is the other side of the park here, where people had salvaged and evacuated their.
This is where the vehicle was earlier before moving to its current position. And that was my concern earlier when it was spraying beyond the wall, whether people won't be hit by the water coming from its cannons. Yes, and now that it's come round to the other side, it is now hitting the people who have taken over its previous position.
Yes. So the water cannon is now getting the target.
Right. Because that particular shot just behind the wall still had fire in it.
Yes, behind the wall. Fire in it, exactly. And that is the concentration. Okay, so the target has been met now, the water cannon. So we're told by the security officers that they were going to bring some of these drip machines, the bulldozers, to be able to
at least create some access.
Yes, but till now we have not seen anything like that. We don't know what is happening. We've not seen anything like that. We were waiting to see if we could get access, or getting them to break this wall, this particular wall. That is, the water cannon could have done a very good job by spraying the area very well. Yes.
Yes, because it's got a lot of force in the water that it's spraying. So if there's a proper targeting, then it will do a better job, I think.
A better job because of the pressure it comes with.
Exactly. I think the fire is still coming back up with the shop just behind the wall. Is it?
Yes, there's still fire. There's still fire in that. There's still fire in that. So that is the concentration by the police trying to get this thing. Trying to get the targets or the fire. So the water cannon has moved forward. It is just close to the wall.
Yes.
So if the bulldozers were here to break down the wall, there would have been enough access for the water cannon to even douse the pockets of fire that are still contained at this section.
At this section of the market.
Section of the incident area. And that is the difficulty the police is also finding, trying to get this done. But I must commend the coordinated efforts by our security services. I must commend them. There's been this coordination today. I've seen the police is coordinating with the fire service, the military, immigration, the Ghana prisons service, and also the ambulance service also. Because we've seen some ambulances that were brought in here. We're told some casualties were recorded, 2 people, 1 civilian and another fire officer. We are told they've been taken to the hospital. We'll be getting an update from the Ghana ambulance or the National Ambulance Service to tell us what is the state of these people. And the coordination today was just perfect, and that is why what we are seeing today by our military officers who are trying their best to contain the situation. So we are not experiencing, or I'm not hearing that blast again or that explosion again. But there's still fire in that building.
In the building.
The top of that building.
Earlier I was asking.
The fire officers at that end are also making some efforts, trying to control the situation. The fire officers are making a lot of effort trying to contain that situation.
So I mean, we are not experts. We are not
people.
Hello,
for the people who at least have come here to watch the situation, it's not so easy for them. It's not so easy. It's not so easy for them. For the people who are here to watch the situation, it's not so easy, especially with the victims who are coming here to watch. So people are talking about how the Ghana National Fire Service should be resourced. People are saying that the Ghana National Fire Service should be resourced because with this kind of issue where the Ghana National Fire Service was having challenge in trying to get access, there could have been drones or maybe a helicopter to fight the fire. People are calling, or this incident is reminding duty bearers and stakeholders to at least consider some of these mechanisms in terms of proactive or in terms of the advanced way of fighting fire. So we are seeing the drip equipment, like I told you, Nana, the drip equipment, arriving with water to help. So the water cannon will need water. More fire engines that are being deployed here will also need water. So the drip has just brought in water. The drip machine or the drip tank water to supply to these services to the driver on how you can connect to water to these fire engines, to be able to get this done, bring the fire under control. So that building, there's still fire in that building. So you can see water flying. The fire officers, I think they have moved the turntable ladder, which was stationed at one of the areas, to that place. And then the fire is coming down. There are efforts to contain the situation. So the water there, flowing there at the other end of the building, which is just close to the Roman Hill area. For those who know Kumasi very well, these are major trading hubs in the Kumasi metropolis. And this area where the fire is concentrated is the middle or the center of the central business district, Adum. So for Adum, people are engaged in several, so especially for people who are into second-hand clothing, the cosmetic products, the sale of cosmetic products, the sale of the phone accessories, mobile phones, laptops, computer accessories, and all that. So people come here, a number of people come here in a congested city to at least trade and also go about their duties. So the fire is being contained at the other side of the market. We are seeing the drip equipment, one of the drip equipment that is a water tank that has been or that has brought in water to supply to the water cannon here, which I think is out of water now. It is empty now, I'm told, to be able to continue with the firefighting efforts. Packets of fire at this congested area. But that building, concentration is now there. The fire officers are making frantic efforts to try and contain the situation. So that is the situation we are seeing now. For those joining us now on ChannelOne TV, this is our of the fire incident that is happening in the middle of the central business district of the Kumasi metropolis, and we are bringing to you live coverage, live pictures of the incidents here. Several shops. We are unable to tell the exact number of shops or the extent of damage, but fire officers have told us that they have begun investigations into the situation, and they want to ensure that their men are able to control the situation before leaving here completely. But it's not so easy. It's not so easy for the people here. So people are angry. They are not happy about some of the efforts or some of the tenders coming in and are being ineffective, being able to, and they are calling for enhanced measures. People are calling for enhanced measures and advanced measures in controlling incidents like this. They say it is a wake-up call for authorities to try and then maybe provide the Ghana National Fire Service with more equipment, with advanced equipment in fighting fire. So the drip, one of the drip machines, which is the water tanker, has come here. So I think they are going to supply the water to the water cannon here. And they are trying to see if they can do the connection.
Good stuff. Now, Hafiz, I mean, we are not experts, but it's an observation, and I don't know if you've observed same. It's as though the fire service deals with the major fire, and then when it comes down, it leaves the police cannon to do the mop-up so that the fire tender or the fire officers move on to other spots where the fire is quite big. Are you observing same?
Exactly. That is what is happening. That is what is happening, Nana. I've observed same. So because of the explosions and the spread of the fire in that building, so fire officers have moved their concentration and their efforts at that area. So, and because they were not getting access from this place to that area, that particular area, they have used the other routes, the Roman Hill area to the Central Market area, and they have placed their water engines or the fire engines from one side of the building and to the middle of the building. And you can see how the fire is, the water is being pumped into the building to try and then control the fire.
Right. So this building, we understand it's a two-story building. You have the ground floor and then the first floor. Are both floors on fire, or is it just the top floor? Because that's where we see the explosions and then the flames going up in the air.
Yes, both have fire.
Both have fire.
Yes, both have fire. Yes, both have fire. Both have fire, and all the shops. So initially, when the fire had started, or when the fire was coming from the other side of the building, the adjoining shops, owners of adjoining shops, were trying to salvage their wares, but they saw that the fire was spreading rapidly, so they had to leave the scene for safety. So they didn't have any option. Although some of them were able to salvage some of the items or their wares, others could not, because some of the shops are not still open, and sometimes without permission it's difficult for people breaking into some of these shops. But for other shops, even though the owners were not in, some broke into the shops, tried to salvage the wares, and later the owners had come, but with the assistance of the police officers who were here. With the assistance of the police officers who were here. So they were able to break into the shops and remove their items to allow the fire service have access to some of the areas which were, or some of the shops which have been engulfed by the fire.
Very well. Hafiz, are you able to take us round so we can see the action regarding that particular building where the explosions were coming from, and so we can at least follow the process and gauge the progress of the work of the fire service?
Exactly. So we are moving to that end of the fire to get the scene or the pictures of the fire to that particular area. And for this side the building, this is what it has turned into. So on a normal day, this area will be.
I was just about saying that we're not seeing the explosions as we were seeing earlier, but I think I just saw one. And so clearly it looks like a difficult one for the National Fire Service and of course the other security teams that are helping currently at Adum to help douse that fire. But as it is, several shops, several of them have been destroyed by this fire that we're being told started at about 4 a.m. this morning, ravaging shops at the Central Business District of Adum in the Ashanti Regional Capital, Kumasi. Let's bring you some shots or visuals that we took early on in the day so you can appreciate the extent of devastation and of course, the destruction that has happened over the period. So just before Hafiz went off, you saw the buildings that or what is left of the buildings so far. This is what it looked like early on in the day when the fire started, and now it's just being reduced to rubble, basically what we're seeing now. Early on in the day when the fire began and was spreading rapidly amongst the various shops there in Adum. This is an area where you have the second-hand clothes dealers, an area where you have people who sell or deal in cosmetics. Then you have the mobile phone accessories people as well. Now, if you use the Roman Hill area, down that hill is where you have the Casualty people also. And so you can tell that all these products or wares, highly combustible, and so have contributed to that rapid spread of fire. Just before Hafiz went off, we saw that two-story building where the fire service was now concentrating its firefighting efforts, and of course the explosion from that particular building, and how the flames from the explosion were going up in the air. A major difficulty, the fire service has said time and time and again, has to do with access to the scenes of fire incidents, because mostly these areas are very congested, and so it proves a bit difficult for the fire engines or the fire tenders to access these incidents, the scenes of these fire incidents, making the firefighting process a bit difficult. Now, we've also seen the masses, the people who have massed up around the scene, and the difficulty or the challenge they are posing to the security officers or officials. At the point we even saw the resistance or the protest in allowing the fire service or the fire engines to make their way to the fire scene. We've heard them actually booing the fire officers because the concern is that the fire officers were unable or did not show up on time, and that if they had, then they could have helped salvage or the situation. But of course, we've seen the men. We're told that there's 5 fire tenders currently on hand at the scene, with an extra one, making it 6. The turntable ladder, in addition, making it 6 engines or equipment currently at the scene, helping to douse the fire. And then we've had the Ghana Police Service also augmenting the efforts of the fire service with their water cannon, which you saw there, spraying some water at the fire as well. And so these are pictures from the morning, early on in the morning. Currently, this place has been raised. It does not look the same as it is. And of course, we brought you live pictures for you to appreciate the extent of damage or destruction that this raging inferno has left in its trail. Firefighters still on the scene, helping to douse it entirely. But as you would have it, the fire currently is still on in certain parts of the Adum market. So these are pictures from early on in the day. The situation is happening in Kumasi, the Ashanti regional capital, the central business district in Adum, where we've picked reports that the fire started at about 4 a.m. this dawn, and it's currently still ongoing. It's just about midday. And a few minutes to midday, if you ask me, and the fire is still ongoing. We've seen the difficulty in accessing the fire scene itself. We're told that investigations have already begun. Fortunately, though, we've been told also that there's been no mortalities, and then that the casualties that were recorded were 2 individuals, a fire officer and a civilian. For the civilian, we understand some debris fell and hit him on the head, and he has been rushed to the hospital. But for the fire service officer or the firefighter, he suffered an injury to his leg, and so he has been attended to by the Ghana Ambulance Service, who are also on standby, on hand at the scene to provide service whenever same is required. And so the story is that fire has gutted several shops, lots of them, at the central business district in Adum in the Ashanti regional capital. We've seen the regional minister there early on this morning to commiserate, to console the affected traders, and of course give them some level of assurance. Firefighters still on hand, currently fighting the fire, doing the best they can to stop the fire from its continuous spread. Early on, when we spoke with the fire officer who speaks for the service in the region, he mentioned that the plan was to contain the fire, and so they are circling the area where the fire is so that it does not spread to other buildings, other structures, or other shops. Hafiz Tijani, our Middle Belt Bureau Chief, is joining us once again, this time via telephone, to give us an idea of what has happened so far. So, Hafiz, just before you went off, we established the fact that the fire service officers were now concentrating their efforts on this particular two-story building where we were seeing and hearing the explosions from. Bring us up to speed with what has happened so far. Is there any update that you can share with us?
Well, Nana, like I said, the smoke that is billowing from the building or the fire scene is getting so intense. And visibility is very poor for firefighters to be able to locate the fire to fight it very well. But there are still pockets of fire in the building, the top of the building. That is the concentration now. So the fire tenders or the fire engines are moving away because I'm told they are out of water. They are going to refuel and then return to fight the situation here. But I will be here, Ashanti Regional Director of the Disaster Management Organization, Mr. Frank Diodi. He has been here with his men also helping in the firefighting effort, trying to contain the situation. You are welcome to ChannelOne TV.
Thank you very much.
So what are we seeing now? What is the concentration now?
Currently looking at the situation, all that we're trying to do is those fires that are still on, the fire service personnel would want to bring the fire under control now. We make sure that it wouldn't extend to the other. You can see that a whole enclave in X circular form. We have those down there and about 3-4 buildings, which have close to about 600 shops and over. You can see at the other side where the line of that of Hello FM, we were fortunate. The one before it, the ground floor, the first floor, the third floor was good. But due to panic, people decided to release or take off their goods from the shop. But both top floor and the very one getting to the picture runabout, you can see that the last floor, then the last but one floor, they were all affected by the fire. Actually, that is where the fire started, before it got to the back where they sell the spectacles and all that. But the unfortunate thing is, when you assess the whole area and you look at what is down there, it will be very, very extremely difficult for a tender or even a pickup. Even motor cannot have access down there to that place. And look at the structures that are there, partial wood, metal, but the unfortunate thing is all the products that they are selling there are petroleum products. We have polythene bags, we have sprays, we have that of rubber, among that you could count of it. You've been here for quite a time, but you could hear at the point the fire will explode, somehow with a huge noise, particularly getting to the footbridge area where the food vendors used to have their gases and all that. So it gives you a rough idea what has gone on there. The challenge that we face from the moment that we got to the scene, you have access to the very place. That is the whole challenge. But now looking at what do you see for yourself, you would want to let the fire calm down, then we get down to be able to have a pure assessment, to have fair view of the happenings that is seen.
So you are part of the Regional Security Council meetings when you go. Do you relay some of these concerns? Because we know this is not the first time a fire incident is happening, and the challenge has always been access. Do you relay some of these concerns to the city authorities?
It's very interesting for you to ask this question. But this is a question that you've asked about 4, 5 years, 6, 7 years ago, that you keep on repeatedly asking from the metro level, among the council that takes decision, things that need to be done, that of Asafo Market. You know, you saw what I went there to do. You know the challenges that we went through. The whole situation is, yes, it's something that we give recommendation, we write, then we talk about. But the challenge that we are having is the traders. You saw how they are talking and how people are insulting that of personnel that we are on the ground working. But the issue is, they are their own, they cause all these problems. Why do we say so? There are access roads that we leave in all these that we do. But the unfortunate thing is you will come, then you continue to see the encroachment day in and day out. People are doing it overnight. Then you come, touch one, you touch all. And at the end of the day, they will tell you that you are insensitive. But they do forget, should there be any issue like what we are witnessing now, that is the result that we are going to have. So these are things that we have been pushing always. But the fortunate thing is, we have city engineers, we have the other authorities. That means to take that action step by step. If those things are not done, and you come to the extent of fighting fire, and extent of we managing disaster issues, it becomes a difficult situation. The engineers and the various market authorities are to be up and doing it. And make sure access road is an access road. They are not just there for fun. They are there for emergency situations. They are there for them to offload heavy duties and all their work. Then leave the road ajar, so that in case of anything, we could come in at any point in time. If we had access to this very place, the fire wouldn't have extended to this area.
So it's a multifaceted issue. So you mentioned about the traders. That can be blamed on attitude. You mentioned about so from where you sit, is it a lack of political will to deal with this, or just attitude of the people?
Let's put it all together. Why do I say so? Because you will have somebody that you go, that then a call goes to a different end, then people will be calling for you to stop, the people will be asking you. In situations like they don't give you the right questions, the person wouldn't even report to say, I'm in the right of way or sitting in the road. But usually all that they talk of it, they are attacking it. How do we eat? At the end of the day, let's come to what do we see now. This is the question that we need to ask. How do they eat? Because looking at the situation now, it's not when you have the work, then when you are located at a specific place that you could trade. And the fortunate thing is, Kumasi, the central business has been a central attraction. People are coming from all sorts of areas.
Even outside the region.
I grew up here, and I'll tell you, I could go down and tell you the very people that they apply the trade with their mother that they are. There are people that are new in the system. Now and then everybody finds his way that he wants to come and find a place, then get where to trade. These are the challenges that we are facing. And it means, one, the political will, two, authorities and technologists need to sit up. And let's forego those little things that we take off that cause us all these problems. If you don't handle it from that angle, that is why I talk about these things and I usually go by. We need to attack this or solve this from the military point of view. No mercy for anybody. Let's go by it. The very thing that you are doing is for the good people. If you do that, this is what we are going to witness. It saddens me what I'm seeing here today. It's more than the whole. The region is in a grief, looking at what has gone on down there. But this could have been prevented. If they working down there would understand. If they themselves will understand the work and what authorities are working for them and give them the rule and obey the rules, wouldn't have worked.
Of course, today's incident is a wake-up call. So what will be the recommendation from NADMO as part of your report you'll be sending? What will be your recommendation? What should be done? So we don't wake up, talk about it, go to sleep, and wake up to maybe talk about this again.
It's been the daily routine, the recommendations that we do. About 3-4 years ago, you saw here that we went. Then look at the actions that have been put in place. But and the people applying their trade down there. It's a challenge. Haven't you witnessed a second fire incident today? Is it far from what happened? That is a challenge situation. For me as a trader, it's a key thing. It's something that we would want to go by. Then since authorities are working to hold the rules, we keep on that we say, we will continue on to let them know. The need for right of way, not right of way where pedestrians walking, but a very way which tenders could pass through and at any point in time, you could just fight incidents like this. If we don't allow for these things to go on, then the recommendations that day in and day out will be put on. You've been coming to the office, you've been talking about this. If I told you to go into your archive, you have answers for all this. The very old ones that we do give them, that at the end of the day, traders are the key people. They should take part for their own good. Then we should have right of way in every market, that you could have a distance at any point in time. When car comes in, we could fight this fire, then we will go. This should be a fire that could have been stopped within 2 hours in the morning. But looking at the nature of the area and how you could not even get access, a motorcycle could not even get access to. That is bringing us to this extent.
So I know NADMO, you will be doing your access after this.
That you know, we will send to authorities and we will expect the government to come. What are we talking of? Move like this. We finish up with the assessment. To get things right, send it to the then the things come. To what happened?
The Ashanti Regional Director of the National Disaster Management Organization, Frank Dio, the NADMO. So he has been talking about several other recommendations they have sent to the Regional Security and the Metro Security Council and even national to at least solve some of these issues, because this is not the first fire incident, and when any fire incident happens, the problem or one